What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Mode Studios with another weekly real estate tip video for you. And today, you guys, I'm here with 4 questions that we've had from our amazing listeners, those of you that are here watching, listening to the show, that submitted your questions. And I'm going to roll through your questions here on today's weekly real estate tip show. So today I'm going to be covering how to take a day off as a super busy real estate agent. Then from there, how to get deals to close fast, right? Meaning you don't have a lot of deals in the pipe or you have 0 deals in the pipe. What do you do to go out there and stack up clients and get some closings and get some immediate wins in your real estate business when you need deals to be closing? Then prospecting for apartments, and then how to deal with stress. So I'm going to be hitting all 4 of these topics in today's weekly real estate tip, and I'm excited to jump in. Now, real quick, before I cover these topics and dive into these, if you have a question that you would like me to answer here on the podcast during our weekly real estate tip episodes, shoot me your questions to questions@gsdmode.com. Again, questions@gsdmode.com. And I'm happy to be able to answer your question here live on the podcast and help dial in your real estate business. I love questions. I don't like to make up topics or think that I know what you want to be delivered. So I love giving your questions and giving you guys the answers and the tips that you need to help you grow and expand your real estate business. Also, if you are interested in my personal coaching and mentorship program and being coached by me for the next 12 months of your life, if you're a real estate agent, team leader, brokerage owner looking to grow and scale your real estate business, make sure to check out masterybootcamp.com, where you can learn more about the program, what's included, what it entails. You can see hundreds of testimonials from those that have been through the program, that are currently in the program, that are massively growing their real estate business and had a ton of success inside the program. You can also book a 100% zero pressure. We have a very strict no selling policy where you can book a discovery call to get all your questions answered, see if the program's a fit for you. And again, these discovery calls exist to get all your questions answered so you can make the best decision for yourself and for your family. And again, see if this program is a fit for you. And that's at masterybootcamp.com. All right, let's jump on into our first question of the day. Now, this is a question/request. So this actually came from one of my teammates, a high-producing real estate agent, that recently was just asking for my advice on being able to take a day off as a highly successful, highly producing real estate agent. And for those of you that are in that space, and even if you're not, maybe you're new and you're just getting that momentum built up and getting your career started very quickly, you are going to discover that it gets harder and harder to take a day off in this industry. And I've been doing this now for 15 years, and I'm here to tell you guys, man, it is difficult to take days off. And it's something that I've had to work very hard to find that successful balance, if you will. Right? Because even though today, I stepped out of production about 5 or 6 years ago. And when I say production, that means working directly with buyers and sellers. So my role, the seat that I'm in with my real estate team is I'm a full-time team leader, CEO of my real estate team, if you will. But I need to make sure that my agents, that my staff, that my entire team has the support, has the resources, and everything that they need, all the systems, training, opportunities, and so forth to crush it in their business. So even as, I get a lot of real estate agents that are like, oh, I can't wait to get to your level, and build a business where I'm not having to work with buyers and sellers anymore and just be able to coach and support my agents, and so forth. But the reality is, you guys, that's just more people that you're working with consecutively at a time that need you. Right? So either way, you're leading. You're either leading the buyer and seller process, leading your vendor partners, leading your clients, and so forth, or you're leading your team. And as you're a leader, as we step up and lead, people are going to demand your time, your energy, and your attention. Now, I'm not the best with this, right? So again, I'm just going to give what I've discovered to work well for me. And I haven't found taking a full day off. What I mean by a full day off, like let's just say, and this is what my agent internally, my agent partner was struggling with, was just taking off, let's just say, a full Sunday. And it was kind of hit or miss. right? And here's the advice that I gave them. When we look at a day, instead of thinking of a day as a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, think of it as a 24-hour period. And this is something that's worked very, very well for me, and is even allows me now to take multiple days off a week if I have the need, or choose to take off multiple days. And sometimes we just need a pause, right? So I look at it as a 24-hour period. And what's worked best for me over the years is, instead of taking a full Sunday off, let's just say I'm going to take 1 p.m. Off from Saturday at 1 p.m. through Sunday at 1 p.m. and I'm going to take that gap of 24 hours off. So then that way I have up until 1 p.m. or noon, or you can pick any 24-hour period. But this way you're still working a gap of those days. So you still get the full 24 hours off, right? But it may not be a full Sunday or full whatever. But and look, when I'm looking for a day off, now I'm not somebody that needs a day off or wants a day off because of I just need a break, right? I don't want to work that whole entire day. The reason that I'm looking for a day off is to force myself to rest, to recuperate, to be able to reflect at a higher level, so then I can perform better for my clientele. It's like hitting the gym, man. Like this morning, I crushed back. Right, I'm going to be sore as hell for the next few days, right? But I do back every single Monday at the gym, or at my home gym now during COVID-19. So I'm going to go crush back once a week, and then I'm going to give it time to recoup, right? To rest and recuperate, so then I can go back again, let's just say next week, and crush it again. So we need time. We even if it's forced time for me, and for a lot of you extremely driven entrepreneurs, it's the forced time off that's the hardest. If you look at like an Olympic athlete or a professional athlete, the hardest thing for them to do is not to be on the court, not to be in the gym, to not be, out there doing their craft, forcing themselves to be able to recuperate and so forth. It can be very hard for driven people. So I still like to take at least a day off a week in this style that I'm saying. So then that way I can force myself to get the much needed rest, have that clarity of thought, and get out there, and then have the next 6 days where I can operate that much more intensely and that much more focused. So it's always worked really well for me, because then I can communicate to my clients. Let's just say you're working with buyers and sellers right now in your real estate business, and that's the hat that you're wearing as an individual high producing real estate agent, right? Well, you can tell all your buyers and sellers that, hey, I'll be available until today until 1 p.m. And then after 1 p.m., I won't be available until 1 p.m. or later tomorrow, right? Say whatever you got. Man, I got meetings, I got appointments, right? And the reality is you may not have meetings and appointments with the clients. Maybe you have meetings and appointments, with your family, with friends, with a hike. It's still a meeting. It's still an appointment. Everything goes on my calendar, right? So it might be an appointment with my kids. It might be an appointment with my wife. It might be an appointment for me to go on a hike. It might be an appointment for me to get together with good friends and so forth. So, it still classifies in my world, because anything that's going to get done needs to be on my calendar. So it's still a meeting or an appointment, even if it's a meeting or an appointment with myself, where I just need to get some, hardcore self-development in or so forth. But then that way I have that 24-hour gap, and I'm able to communicate that very effectively to my clients, and they get it. I find the understanding being there versus taking a whole Sunday off or a whole day off where you're just kind of off the grid. So that's the advice that I gave to my agent partner, my teammate, and he actually recommended that I share that with you guys, because it's been such a game changer for him inside his real estate business. All right, so then from there, next question we have here from Nikki, which is, she's in a position, I'm just paraphrasing her question here, she's in a position with the pandemic and so forth, where business is taking a hit and she needs immediate clients. And she's reaching out asking, how do I go out there and get now clients? So I'll just really quick go through a few different ways that you can do this. Number one, and this is something that I'm preaching to my team almost on a daily basis. I'm preaching to my coaching clients, and you've heard me talk about this probably during these weekly real estate tips, something that I think is extremely important, especially during a time of crisis like this. Because you guys got to understand, people are hurting right now. I know that we are hurting. You might be hurting in your business, right? But we got to step up and lead. So even though we're hurting, that still means that we got to kind of suck it up and be there for people inside of our database. So I recommend you to look at your database as your community. And at this point, during this time, you should be reaching out to everybody in your community, right? Your community, AKA your database, at a minimum of every 30 days right now. Because if we look at this and break this down, you guys, Right now, suicide hotlines are up 800% right now today, going through this crisis. People are hurting. You got overdose check-ins to hospitals that are up 20%. Again, people are hurting. So reaching out to everybody inside your database. This includes leads, everybody in your database, past clients, whatever. Now, how we're controlling these conversations with everybody in our database is we're first reaching out, just checking on them and their family. Hey, Joshua Smith here at my home group. Just wanted to check in on you and see how you and your family are doing during, these crazy times. I know things are kind of nuts right now. Just how are you doing? How are things going? You guys holding up okay? Right? So we're going to lead with an empathetic compassion, lead from a place of compassion, lead from a place of empathy, and just check in on them and see how they're doing. And this is also what I'm doing with new leads that are coming into the system. This is how we're leading every conversation right now. Then depending on how that conversation goes, that will then determine how we follow up on it after the fact. Right? And I don't mean follow-up call. I mean how we in that conversation, if you will. If it's somebody that's sitting there saying, oh, not that great, my spouse just lost their job, I just lost my job, we're really concerned right now. You guys, look, in that scenario and situation, I'm not going to, and hopefully none of my teammates are going to transition that into a real estate call. These people are suffering, dude. At that point, we're just going to be there for them. So it's just, hey, I'm so sorry to hear that. If there's anything I can do, if you like, you can shoot me your resume. I'll put it out to my network. I can't promise anything other than I'll do everything I can to put it out there and try to get, try to help in any way I can. If there's anything you need from me, reach out. Call, text, email, anytime. I don't know what I can do to support you, but hey, look, if you just need somebody to vent to, somebody to talk to, I can be a great listener. I'm here for you. If there's anything I can do, I'm here to not just be your realtor, but you're a great resource as well as a friend. So whatever you need, man, I'm here for you. Right? So just having those conversations. Now, if that conversation is different, if they're like, oh yeah, things are going great. Business is crazy, business is busy. It's been a transition working at home and being with the family, but we're making the best of it and things are good. Then we will pivot and transition that into a regular real estate call. Right? Oh, hey, I'm so great to hear that. I'm so glad that you and your family are doing well. Yeah, and I know that this is an adjustment for all of us, but I'm so glad to hear that you guys are doing well. And hey, while I have you on the phone, are there any real estate needs that I can support you with, help you with? Hopefully you have notes in your CRM about your last conversation and so forth. You can pick that up and then continue that real estate conversation. The thing that I want you guys to understand right now is, yes, there are people hurting right now. However, there are a lot of people that aren't hurting and a lot of people that can't afford to pause their real estate needs and their real estate goals because of this virus that's taking place. And this is what we're really trying to be there for those people right now during these times, right? If I look at my MLS numbers, and every single month I'm going into my MLS right now, I do this anyways, not just during this time, but I'm tracking. I want to look at the sales each and every month. I want to look at the inventory rate each and every month. So we just, as at least meantime, make it in this video. I don't know, you guys will be watching this a few days after, or maybe you're watching this along. This lives forever on, all the mediums out there. But as of for April 2020, right, we had about just over 7,700 home sales in Maricopa County. So inside my MLS system, which is big, covers a lot of ground, a lot of people, a lot of agents, and so forth. So your county, city might be less than that, but we've also got 60,000 agents in our county as well. So, 7,700 home closings. Now that's down about 26% from the same month 1 year prior. So yeah, sales are down. But the reality is, dude, there were still 7,700 home sales. There are a ton of people that are still needing and wanting to sell and needing and wanting to buy during these times. So I look at that as a motivational thing. And it's like, look, okay, yeah, the sales are down 26% from the amount of sales. There was over 9,000, 2,000 and some more, 2,000 and some change more homes that sold 12 months ago for that same month in 2019, right? So sales are down, so they're down 26%. However, I know that 90% of the industry, 90% of my competitors are burying their head in the sand. They're watching the news, they're freaking out, they're not taking action. So we need to stay in action. Also, having this data when you guys are checking this, and even on a hyper local level inside the main city or cities that you work, right? Check this every day. See how many listings are coming up, how many homes went under contract, how many homes sold, and so forth each and every day. So when you're having these conversations, maybe with a potential home seller or so forth, that's like, is anybody selling right now? Bam, you can spit off the statistics of how many homes are going under contract, how many homes are being listed, and so forth, just to showcase and inform people and educate people that deals are still happening right now. All right, so that's number one, right? Just reaching out to your database every 30 days. Now, I should have led with this, Nikki, and I apologize for not leading with this. But the most important thing right now is mindset. You know, right? Like there's only 4 things that we can control: our attitude, our mindset, right? Our actions, and the choices that we make each and every day. So I want to make sure that those things, the choices I'm making each and every day, the actions that I'm taking each and every day, right, that my mindset and my attitude, those 4 things that I can control, I'm able to go out there and take massive action on. So step number 1, you guys, is in order to control mindset and attitude, stop watching the news. Don't watch the news. It's not gonna help you. The news is just exploiting. The news retains eyeballs and gets attention during crisis, during negativity, and so forth. So they're just going to exploit it. They're going to just repeat it day in and day out, and that's their job. That's what they are designed to do. So I don't want to get sucked into that negative vortex of just a bunch of bullshit negativity. I'm not going to do that. I can stay informed by going on the CDC's website and so forth. There's ways to stay informed, right? So I'm going to exit out the negativity. So I'm going to make sure to avoid the news. I'm going to try to avoid having conversations about COVID with family, with teammates, with friends, right? Unless they're really hurting and reaching out and really need me to be there for them. I mean, I'm just trying to stay away from these theoretical conversations and people venting and so forth, because I need to protect this bad boy, right? The next thing, and I went to the extreme. I just created a video on this of how I went to the extreme of even canceling Netflix and Hulu and so forth, right? And those are, again, to control focus, right? There's just too much wasted time on these apps that exist out there. And I know right now, during this time, it could be the most important time ever in our careers to go out there and be doubling and tripling down, right? Because you guys, we haven't seen the economic negative implications that potentially could arise because of COVID-19. So I want to be prepared for it. And I hope to God I'm wrong, right? But I believe in hoping for the best, planning for the worst. So I am planning on this being a terrible economic crash, right? A terrible real estate crash, terrible, whatever. Now, again, I'm not saying that I'm predicting that. I'm not saying that that's where I think the market's going, right? But again, hope for the best, plan for the worst. History always favors the man or woman that are most prepared. So if I'm prepared for it to be bad and ugly, and then it ends up not being bad and ugly, boom, I'm ahead of the game. Then if it is bad and ugly, boom, I'm prepared, I'm ahead of the game. So either way, it's a win-win for me, right? So that means then I need to be doubling down on my activities. I can't afford to lose focus by bullshit entertainment right now, right? So you're going to have to, if you want to thrive during these times and put yourself ahead of your competitors, you need to double, triple, quadruple down on your activities and what you're doing day to day. So really, really important. All right, so then from there, how to go out there and get now immediate business, some other ways, right? So always jump into your database, number 1, which we talked about. Now, I know usually I would say go start hammering open houses, but for a lot of you can't do open houses in your market. So, I'm not gonna talk about open houses right now. The next thing that I would do, if I needed now immediate closings, is I'd go to top lenders in my marketplace and I would reach out to them. So I want to make sure they're top producing lenders, they do a lot of business and so forth. Number 1, because, if you're a lender that does a lot of business, not always, but in most cases, they have a good system and they're able to provide a good service to their clients. So make sure it's a good lender. But then also when I say so good and busy, I should preface, right? The reason I want them to be busy is they're going to have taken a lot of applications historically. So I'm going to go to that lender and be like, hey, I got a win-win scenario that I want to pitch you. I want to, if you're open to it, I want to reach out to all your old applications. These are people that applied for a mortgage with you and for whatever reason did not move forward with the process. Maybe they didn't qualify at that time. Maybe, they just had a life change where they decided not to move forward with it. But again, these are people that qualified with you year, 2, 3, 4 years back, didn't move forward with a loan for whatever reason. And so these are old leads not being worked, because if they're busy, high producing lenders, they usually don't have time to go back there and nurture all these old leads, right? Where then I can call those leads. So I'm speaking as, when I say I, that would mean you, Nikki. Call these leads on their behalf. So I'm reaching out to these leads. It would just be whatever their name is. Hey, Joshua. Hey, Joe. Joshua Smith here at my home group. Just wanted to reach out and work with, and I'm going to preface the lender's name because they've had experience with the lender. They haven't had experience with me. You know, I work with XYZ lender at XYZ lender shop. You know, our records indicate that you had interest in purchasing a home a couple years ago, applied for a loan, and for whatever reason, you didn't move forward with that purchase. And we just wanted to reach out to see if that is something that you would like to re-explore. Interest rates right now are recorded lows, all-time lows, so interest rates are fantastic. A lot of great loan programs out there right now. And again, we're just wanting to reach out to see if this is something that you would like to re-explore. Is this something that you would like to do? And I'm just going to try to get them to pre-qualify with that lender, and then boom, go out there and represent them as the buyer. The lender gets the loan, you get the buyer. Client, it's a huge win-win. And I did a video some time ago. This was like a 20-minute video several months ago on the 4 quickest ways to now closings. And this was one of the ways. And I had a comment on my YouTube channel from one of our amazing listeners out there that was like, look, dude, I implemented this. I ran with it. And within 24 hours, I had 2 approved buyers that I had buyer brokers with. And that was within 24 hours of implementing this. Now, I'm not going to say that maybe he got lucky. I don't know. The more action that we take, the luckier that we get. You know, but dude, if you're ripping through 200 of those, there's no reason that you're not going to have at least one client out of that 200 apps that you're calling. But this does take action. This is where I said earlier, the mindset portion and the commitment to taking action must be there. It's absolutely crucial, right? Other people. So then I'm always looking at other people or potential people that would need the need for our services right now. So if you look at Airbnb clients or Airbnb owners, they're suffering right now. They're hurting. So you can go pull up the Airbnb list and you know, do some reverse lookups, start scrubbing, seeing how you can get their contact information, reach out to them to see what their plan is, and if they have a need to sell, see if they want you to get an updated CMA to be able to see what they could, you know, if they were to sell, what that would look like right now. Single family detached property landlords right now that you know, might not be able to collect on those rents or may not be able to get a tenant in there in place because of what's taking place right now. So absentee owners, so forth, all great different sources that this particular crisis is putting them, not all of them, but a bigger percentage of them in a pinch, right? So you guys, I can't, it's so easy to go out there and get now immediate clients. However, the hard part is you might have to dial for 8 hours a day for the next 5 days to go out there and bam, land some now immediate clients that need some business. And then after that, you might have to be dialing for a couple hours a day and taking action for a couple hours a day to go out there and get business. But the business is to be had. I was just talking with one of my teammates that actually shares, he's right outside of this wall. He has the office next to that. You know, this is a dude, I mean, he's been with me for about 5 or 6 years now, and just continues to level up in his real estate business. And he's built up momentum, and he just continues to take daily action. He's here in the office each and every day, doing his follow-ups, working his CRM, tracking his numbers, taking daily consistent action. And I was just speaking with him a couple of days ago, and he's like, dude, like, I mean, for the first time in his career, he has 12 deals under contract right now. This is just one dude. This isn't me as a team as a total. This is just one of my teammates. Has 12 deals under contract. And it's just that consistent daily action, right? Consistent daily right action over time compounds into massive results. So the biggest hurdle for everybody out there is this, right? Controlling yourself to show up every single day. So get up early, wake up early, take a shower. I don't care if you're quarantined, whatever, like show up to be prepared to succeed, right? Show up, rip through your daily follow-ups, you know, right? Rip through those daily actions and do it each and every single day. If you are doing the right actions each and every single day, it is impossible to not create success. When I hear a real estate agent that's been in the business for some time that's like, oh, I've been in the business for 6 months or 12 months, I haven't closed a deal yet. I'm like, you have to intentionally be trying to sabotage your own business. Like there's got to be some internal mental block where maybe you're afraid of success, afraid of whatever. I don't know what that would be. But dude, if you, unless you're intentionally self-sabotaging and intentionally not going out there and doing the work and just being lazy and being fully uncommitted to your success, you can't go out there and not do deals. And I don't mean to say that to sound like an asshole. I'm not trying to rip on anybody here. I say it from a place of love, right? So then hopefully you can do a self-check and then realize, okay, here's what I got to do. Because the reality is, you guys, is picking this thing up, making your phone calls, I get it. It sucks, right? Like I'm not a fan of it either. However, the end of the day, it's like, man, I'm in an air-conditioned building. I've got water, right? I've got technology. If you don't want to do the calls, you can do video text messages. You can do other reach outs that still can lead to success. At the end of the day, having to sit on this for 8 hours a day in an air-conditioned office with cold water, it's still better than 80% of the human beings that live on this planet with their daily conditions, right? It's still not that bad. A lot of it's just this mental fuck that we end up, these mental stories that we end up telling ourselves that loop us into, I don't know, just into inaction and not taking the action. So there are hopefully a few ways that you can go out there and get now business. I'm telling you, even if you just picked one of those and you took daily consistent action for a few hours each and every day, right? You want to take more, you can take more, but even if you just took 3 hours each and every day of ripping through one of those sources that I gave you, there's deals there to be had. Right, so I would watch this. I would identify which one, if not all three, that you were going to implement. Then I would commit to daily action. And you guys, look, the first conversation I had with my wife and my kids when the quarantine took place was, hey guys, you're not going to see me much for some time, and that sucks. Right? Yeah, I want to spend more time with my wife and my kids during this time. They got extended summer break. I would love to be doing more with them each and every day, swimming, hanging out, playing games, whatever. But I'm like, look, you're not going to see me much for some time. This is time where I need to step up. I got to do what I got to do to take care of us, take care of our family, take care of our staff, take care of our employees, make sure teammates have ample opportunities, and so forth. This is the time where I need to lead and step up. Right? So you guys are used to seeing me for a couple hours during the weekdays and used to see me on the weekends. Right now, like you might see me 30 minutes a day. That's probably all you're going to see me for some time, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard on me. It's going to be hard on you guys. I apologize about this, but this is what I need to do to take care of us, and our family. Right? And it's having that mindset, and not just the mindset, the follow through with the actions that will allow us to go out there and create success. And that's just me giving it to you guys raw and real and not sugarcoating it, because we got to put in the action to go out there and get results. All right. So next question here is from Nick. So Nick says, hey, I do residential real estate. I'm transitioning into commercial, specifically multifamily apartment buildings and so forth. Was curious if you've had anyone on the podcast that is a commercial realtor that goes into detail on prospecting. Now, I've had a lot of people on the podcast that I've interviewed over the time that specialize in commercial deals. A lot of them are more on the investor front. But I can't think of any offhand. You could go sort those. There's other platforms out there like Bigger Pockets that are specific to commercial real estate where you might be able to see some stuff there. But let me just give you a couple pieces of advice here. Number one, continue your traditional real estate business. So don't take, anytime I'm looking to add another leg to my business, or even if I'm looking to go full in, let's just say maybe I want to just go, hey man, I want to be the apartment building king as far as a real estate agent, representing investors and so forth. But I haven't built that leg of business yet. And I'm doing residential real estate business and I want to focus on building this thing. Treat commercial real estate now as your side hustle. Because you need to pay the bills now. You need revenue coming in. You want that consistent revenue coming in. So continue doing everything that you're doing right now in your residential real estate business to procure those deals, to produce those deals, and keep those deals coming in. So let's just say you have 10 hours a day on that. Then devote another 4 hours a day into learning your side hustle. Now, the first thing that I would do before I start prospecting out there for apartment deals is I would learn the process. right? Because you guys were like, we got to master our craft. If I'm going to focus on residential real estate, which is my personal focus, right, I want to know anything and everything I possibly can about residential real estate in my marketplace, right? So I'm going to get to know the apartment building game if you're going to be the go-to real estate agent to represent investors buying, are the people that are going to, only investors are going to be buying and selling apartment buildings, right? So that way you are savvy, where you can speak their language, because the more savvy that you are, the more so that they're going to see you as an asset. So you want to be able to speak their language. You want to know about cap rates. You want to know about, how they can leverage debt and so forth on that. Now, I'm not an apartment building expert, right? I know Grant Cardone's got a weekly session on his YouTube channel where he covers apartment buildings, but going out there and getting your learn on it with sources like that. So then that way you can start to become familiar with that process and familiar with what all that looks like. Read every book that you can on apartment buildings, apartment building investing, managing and running apartment buildings. Maybe you have local property management firms that manage a lot of these complexes. Go there, pick their brains, take them out to lunch, get to know so you might spend the next 90 days of your side hustle learning about that product itself, right? Because then from there, it's not that difficult once you have expertise to be able to articulate that you are of value and that you're an asset to these people. Then from there, it's not that difficult to go out there and find deals. Right? You can go out there and hunt down all the apartment owners in your marketplace, right? Getting that data from your title company or buying lists, reaching out to them and just seeing if they have a need to sell. Hey, if I brought you an investor offer, that and the price was right, would you consider selling at this time, right? So just having those conversations, right? And that's a very important script, especially for investors. If I brought you an investor offer and the price was right, the price made sense to you, would you consider selling at this time? And now you're building a Rolodex of apartment buildings, off-market deals that are available. Then you can start advertising those and letting potential buyers know that those are available. And you can, again, go to your title company. You can go out there and start scrubbing who've been the buyers over the last 12 months that have bought apartment buildings. You can get their information. You can go join local investor networks. Right? Go on meetup.com. There's going to be local investor networks, right? You can put feelers out there. Where now you become the deal putter together, if that's such a term. Right? But the most important aspect, man, is learning the product. So then you can sit there and know, because then let's just say you look at the progression, right? You got single family attached homes, right? That they might have, let's just say I'm an investor and I got single family attached homes, right? Well, then you can start looking in whether you're going after absentee owners, or you can go out there and utilizing Remine and other software platforms out there. You can see who those single family attached property owners are. Now you can reach out to me and say, hey, Joshua Smith, I see that you own X123 West Main Street. It looks like it's a rental property for you. Look, I represent a lot of single family attached investors just like yourself, transition out of single family attached real estate or investments, sell those properties when the time's right, where then we can 1031 exchange that money into a fourplex. And now you have 4 sources of revenue. And here's all the benefits of that. Because sales is all pain and pleasure. You got to identify the pain that they're experiencing. So as a single family attached property owner with tenants in place, right? Like when they move out, I don't have any rent being collected, right? There's other pains, the cap rates are lower and so forth, right? So those are going to be the pains. Now you can speak to how I guess investing up into a multi-unit solves that pain and leads me into pleasure, or leads that potential investor into pleasure. But you need to have that knowledge base, because then from there, once you have the knowledge base, man, and once you're finding deals, right, by reaching out, going through that script that I gave you a moment ago, then it becomes that much easier to go out there and put those deals together. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, and again, Bigger Pockets is my buddy is the host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, David Green. I've had him on the podcast a few times. They're kind of the juggernaut, as far as that I know, of kind of the leading source of great free information and resources to educate yourself on the investment side. Yeah, right. But you got to, even though you may not be an investor personally at this point, you got to be able to think like an investor. You got to be able to speak their language, solve those pains and pleasures, right, and so forth. And then once you have the expertise and knowledge, man, it makes it that much easier to go put those deals together. All right, so the last question I have here is around stress. So this is from Kurt. So Kurt says, hey, have you recorded a video previously about stress being a decision? I've heard you mention it and I'm intrigued. All right, so let me talk about this, right? So stress isn't necessarily a decision, but choosing to stay in a stressful state is a decision. And I'll explain this and break this down. Now, I'm stressed a hell of a lot less than I used to be because I've learned of proactive ways of being able to manage stress, right? Number one, again, this just, dude, 90% of success, you guys, happens between, this bad boy up in here, right? 90% of success is all mental. Of course, we have to have strategy. We have to have tactics. We got to, have a right plan and so forth. But most of it's just up here. So the first thing that I operate by, and this has taken a lot of years, going down the spiritual self-development on the spiritual side and becoming, more spiritual, if you will, and going down that journey. One of the most powerful lessons that I was able to learn is just the lens I'm able to operate out of and having a very deep understanding that in life, I'm experiencing only two things. I'm experiencing happiness or I'm experiencing growth, because growth only comes during times of suffering. That's the only growth moments that we have, is during suffering. That's how we improve. That's how we get better. That's how we're forced to change, forced to adapt, forced to shift, move, whatever. So either way, though, life's good. Because again, I'm either experiencing happiness, which is great, or I'm experiencing growth, which is great, right? So either way, even if I'm suffering, it's great because it allows me to grow. It's a growth moment. A lot of us are going through some growth moments during COVID-19 right now. We're having to shift and adapt and change. We're having to go more virtual, right? We're having to double down on our efforts. We're having to pay attention to our business expenses much more closely and managing our P&L experiences and really implement and institute a lot of the fundamentals that we should have been having in our business in the first place, right? So number one is operating from that perspective. Because the powerful thing of that perspective is if I'm not experiencing happiness, we all know what happiness feels like, right? And we all know what suffering feels like. So if I'm not experiencing happiness, if a suffering moment comes up, because I then now know that that is a moment for growth. So even though it sucks, I'm looking for those growth moments. So I'm not allowing myself to live into the, why is this happening to me? The victim mindset, the victimhood. I'm never going to point fingers and, this is this person's fault. Look, COVID-19, this is none of our faults that this happened. Right? Like we had no control that this was taking place. However, if your business is suffering right now, it's your choice, right? I know that's a hard thing to say and maybe during severe scenarios. Well, even look at New York. I just had a buddy of mine on the podcast that won't be released for about a week or two. But a buddy of mine who's one of the top agents and also developers in New York, right? So like downtown New York in the mecca of where this has been hitting, man. And he's kicking ass. He's putting deals together. He's putting new projects together, new developments together. So in even areas that have these extreme shutdowns, there's still an elite few that are choosing to go out there and push it forward and do deals and have business growing. So, right? I've had businesses. I have 6 companies right now today, and I've had several of them that have taken a blow because of COVID-19. But I can't blame it on COVID-19. It's my fault. Right? I got lax before COVID-19. As Warren Buffett says, when the tide goes out, you see who's skinny dipping. I was skinny dipping in those businesses. Right? And now I'm paying the price for it, but I'm getting my hustle muscle on. I'm pivoting. I'm shifting. Right? We're doing everything we can to get back into growth mode. We get that momentum building up. Right? Got comfortable. Right? So I can't blame anybody else but myself. Right? So when I step into the learning kind of student mode of the growth situations during suffering, it allows the victimhood mindset from even being able to take place. There's no room for it when you operate from a perspective like this. So that's number one, right? Is just operating from the right perspective. Then from there, anytime that I'm feeling stress, because here's the issue with stress, you guys, stress very quickly leads to overwhelm. Overwhelm very quickly leads to procrastination, and procrastination is single-handedly the most dangerous, deadly thing that can happen to any of our businesses, right? Because procrastination equates to inaction. We need to stay in action, not taking, when I say inaction, that means zero action. We need to be in consistent action, not inaction, right? So I don't want that stress to get out of control, right? So a couple best practices that I follow immediately. First thing that I do when I start experiencing stress, and we all know what stress feels like, stress, anxiety, you get that pit in your stomach, whatever, is I believe in power in the pause. Is my peak performance coach, Camille Rose, always telling me power in the pause. So I'll take a step back for a minute. Well, let's call it about 10 minutes, right? I lead with breathing exercises. So I follow a 4-7-8 breathing exercise where I breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, breathe out slowly for 8 seconds. I repeat that for 10 times, right? That just calms my mind, right? Gets my body centered, gets me physiologically and mentally centered. Then from there, I start assessing the situation. Okay, what is the situation at hand, right? And then what needs to take place to improve the situation? So again, this leads me back to what I said with the perspective of being a student, right? So instead of allowing myself to be, oh, why is this happening to me? You're right. Oh, poor Josh. No, fuck that, dude. Like, that isn't going to do me ever any good. I need to start asking better questions like, what can I do right now in this moment? What needs to be done to turn this around? What can I do right in this moment to improve this, right? Then from there, as I start going through that and start thinking about, okay, here's where we're at. I'm not going to get caught up in the pointing fingers and blame. It doesn't matter. Here's where we're at. Here's the situation. Here's where I want to be, right? What needs to happen to get me from here to here? So I start writing a list of all the things that need to happen. Then from there, if I'm looking at a list of 20, 30, 100 things, that can also be overwhelming. So I start asking myself then, okay, hey, what out of this list of all these things that need to be done, what can I do right now? What can I start taking action on that would have the biggest immediate impact that I have the knowledge, the resources, and so forth to accomplish? And then I'm going to prioritize that list. Let's just say there's 20 things on there. I will prioritize it 1 through 20. Right now, I have a game plan and an action plan. Because look, if you have 20 things to do on your to-do list and you just keep looking at that 20 things, that's going to create stress and overwhelm all on its own. So when I prioritize this, I now know, boom, okay, hey, here's one. Now I'm going to pretend the other 19 things don't even freaking exist. I'm going to be laser focused just on that one thing, execute, implement, take action on it, get it knocked out. Now I revisit the list. Now I'm only focused on number 2. Right? Number 2 is the only thing that's living in my world right now. I'm going to execute, implement, take action, right? Get it kicking ass, get it knocked out, then go to number 3. And that's just the process that I follow, right? Then get it committed to your calendar and start taking action. Anytime that I'm stressed, man, as soon as I go through that process from breathing, taking in the lesson, coming up with an action plan, prioritizing the action plan, now committing it to my calendar, and then starting to take action on those items. For me personally, all that stress and overwhelm goes away. It doesn't mean that I'm still not going to have a little bit of fear of the moment going on, that little pit in the stomach, whatever you want to call it, fear, anxiety, whatever. But it's not this type of stress that's going to shut me down and freak me out and stress me out, right? That's what I mean when I say it's a choice. It's not a choice that those things always come up, right? But it's a choice on how we respond to it, right? So I always want to respond in the right manner so then I can manage and hopefully eliminate and minimize that stress so then I can stay in an action state. So anyway, you guys, I hope that you found this helpful. Again, if you have any questions that you would like answered here live on the show, I guess not live, these are pre-recorded, but you know what I'm saying, shoot me an email to questions@gsdmode.com. Also, if you're finding this information beneficial, if it's helping you in your real estate business, man, make sure to check out masterybootcamp.com. That's my mentorship and coaching program where you can learn about how you can coach and be coached and mentored by me personally for the next 12 months of your life. It's extremely effective, extremely affordable, you guys. You can learn more by going to masterybootcamp.com. You can see everything that it entails, book a zero pressure discovery call, get your questions answered, see if it's a fit for you, see testimonials from all the raving fans that have been through the program and are doing massive things in the real estate business, real estate teams, brokerages, and so forth. So again, masterybootcamp.com. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today's real estate tip episode. Truly appreciate, love you all. Keep up the amazing work. Keep kicking ass, and I'll see you next time. Peace.